band together or come together to help support each other. Sometimes it's solely for social things, like you only do, you just have parties together, or you have clubs and whatnot, which we share some student groups and clubs and athletics and whatnot. But most often it's both for social and for academic purposes. So our students, as much as they're taking classes on our campus, they're also able to take classes at the other campuses across the street. Again, like I said, Pomona, Claremont McKenna, Pittsburgh, and College. So that's our purpose. A little bit more about what our students actually do on our campus. So I mentioned the core curriculum, I mentioned classes, I mentioned that they take a third of their classes in their major, a third in the humanities, social science, and arts, a third as well in the core curriculum. Aside from that, our students actually do quite a bit of research. Lots and lots and lots of hands-on work. I tried to show cycle pictures, or put pictures in a single page of specific research projects, just so you can kind of see it, but it really needs more explanation. But I'll do the short version here. I mentioned that there's 750 people. We don't have graduate students. Our students are basically in charge of all the research that needs to happen on our campus. I tell students not only are you the first in line, oftentimes you're the only one in line for different opportunities. So we have a great laser lab. We have a couple lasers. One of the lasers there is about $2.5 million worth. But only 3 people ever in the whole school really want to do hardcore physics laser work. And if only three people want to do it, it's actually more than enough lasers for the 3 people to keep them happy for 4 years. So let's put it that way. We try to do research and whatnot. So think about that mass. Another way to think about just the level of work that happens on our campus and the research that happens, again, because it's a college, not a university, it's kind of hard to understand sometimes. Our students that are in our chemistry major, there's a few of them. There's about 25 of them that major each year in the chemistry, so again, a small number. So a small of them will major in that field. They're all part of this this outside group called the American Chemical Society. Every chemist in the U.S. As a professional, so if you're working with a chemist right now in Cosmos, like you're doing research with them, they're part of ACS. And as part of ACS, they're also going to conferences and promoting their work and their research and whatnot. Usually, you don't get to do that until you're big time, or you're on your way to the big time, or on your way to the PhD. So for our students, it's not unusual for us to have, out of those 25 people, about 20 of them presenting at ACS each year. That's pretty good. 20 out of 25 people are presenting at a major conference where PhDs, possible Nobel laureates, are also attending and giving the main talks. That's just the level of work that happens on our campus. So research, not just encouraged, it's actually required. Another opportunity on our campus, and especially for computer science and our engineering majors, is our clinic program. So a lot of schools will talk about internships. Our clinic program is kind of like an internship, but it's a little different. It runs for a full year, rather than the summer or a semester or whatnot. And you actually also get course credit for it. So it's a little different. It's kind of like a class, but not really. What our clinic program is that we get sponsors from industry. We'll get folks from Nike, from Google, from JPL, from Northrop Grumman, from Boeing, from Facebook. We'll get these companies. And they'll give our students projects. And our students, in groups of about 4 or 5, again, it's about collaboration and group work, will work on that project solely. And it's just them. So they do things like for Facebook, for Nike, we had 2 projects with them last year. They prototyped a cleatless outdoor soccer shoe for Nike. That's what they were asked to do. Our engineers were asked to do something like that. So it's a big question that no one's ever tried to do, and they're being asked to do that. We talk about, there was an example about the oil spill in the Gulf. Our students actually work on, this is before the oil spill, so it just so happened that it's even more applicable now. They worked on it's a submarine, and it's basically, usually you vacuum or you clean up an oil spill at the top only, and that's the problem. But a lot of the waste is in the bottom, you can't see it. They actually created a system, a filtration system, that separates oil from water within the deep sea, which is very, very, very hard to do. to vacuum just oil, but not water, where you're sucking everything in. How do you separate that out? So they're the ones that actually created the device for that sensoring system, the feedback system for that. And then it was actually used in the Gulf. So our students are doing practical work. They're doing some work that, that leakless soccer shoe probably will never happen. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't doubt Nike because it might just happen. But they're working with questions like that. And again, everyone on our campus, all computer scientists and all engineers, are required to do that, and all of them have the opportunity to work on projects like that. So it's not just like the top 5 or the top 10. Everyone does a project, which is again really neat if you're wanting to do collaborative work, especially at a level that produces about basically a third of those clinic projects produce patents every year with those companies. But that's pretty neat work that you're getting to do. So I'm gonna just do a really quick wrap up about what student life is like, because I've talked about opportunities and whatnot. Student life. One of the first slides that I showed, or the one that just showed before this, was the honor code signing. We have an honor code as well on our campus, and it's meant to allow our students to treat each other like the responsible, fun-loving young adults that they are. It means that they have take-home tests. It means that your profs let you work on those $2.5 million lasers without problem, without fearing that you'll shoot your eye out, because you have proper training and all that good stuff. But they also trust you with the work, right? So that happens on our campus too. But I want to give a personal story about how the honor code works for me as a staff member. This is my 5th year at Harvey Med now. Never going to graduate from it, so I'm never going to get a bachelor's degree, but it's my 5th year. So in this time, I've really, seen the examples of the take-home test and getting to do research at, 10 o'clock at night if you wanted to. But my example is this. I run our admitted student program for our campus. So if you ever ask any admissions officer, admitted student day is a very important day. Like the grass has to be mowed, the lights in the auditorium all have to work. You have to run on like double efficient time and everything. You want the students to look happy and to, you guys saw those U-book pictures. You've visited campus room. But admitted students day is the day of the year. You're trying to convince them really that they should commit. So it's an important day for our campus. So one of the things that I'm in charge of is finding ways for our students to participate. So at night, usually on that Sunday night, our student groups or students decide to throw on activities. One of the activities that was proposed to me was from the Juggling and Unicycling Club, one of 60 very active clubs on our campus. Again, we have about 200 others that you can join with the other Claremont colleges. But the Juggling and Unicycling Club, I wanted to do something. I said, sure, why not? And I said, how much money do you think you'll need? Because that's always important to stick with budget. And they said, oh, we just want to buy donuts from Donut Man because they really like the donuts there. And they just want to serve it and do that. I'm like, okay, cool. I get a second email, though, a few hours later saying, oh, the juggling club wants to juggle with fire. Deep breath. Very big deep breaths for me before I freak out. I'm going, why in the world do they want to juggle with fire? Parents are going to be here. We want things to look nice, and I don't want things to go wrong. So why would we do that? So before I freaked out, and before I said no, and said no completely, I said, okay, fine, I'll do some recon work. I actually emailed one of Dina's students. The students call him Dina Fun because he's in charge of all the different student activities. So I emailed Dean Chris, aka Dina Fun. Dean Chris, the juggling club just asked me if they could juggle with fire. Is this a normal request from them? So I didn't know, right? So he gets back to me and says, yeah, that's a normal request from them. That you shouldn't have any problem. You should just follow up with them and figure out who has fire extinguisher training there, amongst the people who are going to be there. And also, if they need to basically just figure out, and make sure they have an outdoor space. He made that clear. Make sure they have an outdoor space. Before I even get to respond to Lillian, who's the juggling club president, she gets back to me and says, oh, I saw Dean Chris at the dining hall. He said that you were concerned about us juggling with fire. You mentioned you had a $75 budget for us, or a $50 budget for us. That's more than enough donuts for us for an hour. But if you can bump it up to about $25 more, we need a new fire blanket. So that's the blanket that you throw on to stop a fire. And we have myself, Jeep, and Joe who are going to be there, and we're all fire extinguisher trained. And our fire extinguishers are fully full, so we're good. We're good to go. And she even sends me a link to Amazon and a fire blanket she wants to use or to buy with the $75 budget that they have now. And that's exactly what happened. That is what the honor code is about. It's about getting to do what you want to do, being able to have your fun, have your academic fun, have your social fun, but also being responsible about it. So on my end, I'm like, honor code's awesome. You know, all I have to do is just let students do what they want to do, and they'll be responsible about it. And that's my story about the honor code. And that gives you a small kind of slice into what campus life is like. But if you're a student who's really excited about math and science, really excited about being independent and as well as being collaborative at some points as well, you know, check us out. Come to our campus again. We're in Claremont, outside of